Good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to a live stream. We're doing something a little bit different today. We're testing out some interesting AI ATC. This is a product called Say Intentions AI. It's in a preview beta at the moment. I've been having a play around with it for the last couple of days. Thought we would try a full ATC flight from Edinburgh to Bremen in Germany. This product's pretty impressive in many ways, actually. So it does have a full integration into ChatGPT, which is driving it in the background. Of course, there is a whole load of programming that sits over the top of it, but all of the processing of this particular bit of software is done off of your machine. It's done out in the cloud, so it's not going to drag your frame rates, etc. down. It has a little thin client that you install on your machine, and essentially that thin client just kind of like integrates into your audio solution. So I don't actually think the simulator even particularly knows you're using it. It may use SimConnect, I don't know, but it is in preview beta, so it's not the finished article. It does say interesting things, like when you come in for IFR approaches, it says things like this is a preview beta, is going to be a bumpy arrival. Have fun, words to that effect. But it has a little thin client that you have installed on your machine. I think, no, let's just bring that up quickly. So that then connects in. So that's great. As I say, very minimal. In fact, I would say negligible impact on Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've seen very little impact at all. It does have, though, for those of us that fly in VR, it does have some integration in here so that you can actually see it within the simulator when you're using a VR headset. So that's pretty cool as well. It's got integration into SimBrief. So if you're creating flight plans into SimBrief, it will import those straight in. And I believe as you do your IFR clearance request, it pulls that flight plan in. It's also got an integration into Navigraph, so it's got all of the latest ARC navigation information, etc. So yeah, it's pretty good, I think. I was also hoping to have a nice, clever, funky overlay that was going to show you a bunch of helpful information about flight directions, etc. But in true live style, that has decided. Let's just try flicking the views backwards and forwards. No, that has decided in characteristic style that it's not going to work. Let me just see if I can very quickly get that up and working. No, that for whatever reason has decided to give up the ghost today. Just try closing the app that runs it and reopening it. A little bit of a shame because it was working quite nicely. No, that's decided it's not going to work today, so I suspect I need to close OBS and reopen it in order to make that work, which means the stream will die. So we will tinker with that another day. I will just bring up the route that we're flying today very, very quickly. So, yeah, starting here in Edinburgh, relatively straight leg across the English Channel, or the North Sea, should I say, and then across here then to across to Bremen. Flying British Airways this evening, folks. So we are Speedbird 14 Delta this evening is our call sign, and with full ATC coverage all of the way. So without further ado, that's enough preamble from me. Let's get ourselves into VR and let's get ourselves up in the air. Hopefully you can still hear me all okay. And one of the other things that we're doing today is I've actually got myself a knee board, a tablet solution. I did a video on that last weekend, so if you're interested to see how I've done this, go check that video out. It is very, very, very handy dandy in VR so that you can take handwritten notes, etc. There we go. Right, good stuff. Now, unfortunately, this knee board you won't actually be able to see because it's not actually being rendered in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's being injected into the render pipeline, actually. So I actually need to center where it is. But actually, I mean, you should be able... Yeah, you can see that. So essentially, this is what I'm going to see when I'm writing in the sim. But yes, you won't be able to see that all, I'm afraid. It makes flying with ATC much, much, much simpler to do. Okay, so let's get tablet up and running. And import sim brief flight. Great. Before we do anything, let's get fuel dialed in. So we've got block fuel of 7,384 kilograms. Get that dialed in. Passengers, we've got 148 passengers this evening. Oh, I should have said we're flying the PMDG Boeing 737 800 this evening. So 148. That should mean we have no first class passengers this evening, I'm afraid. Everybody's in coach. And cargo of 3357, so we'll do 1500 at the front, and we'll do 1850 at the back. Okay, that looks good. So ground services, let's get ourselves a ground power unit. Okay. Okay, we're on ground power. We've got the synchronization for our navigation system is set to realistic, so let's get that going pretty quickly. So getting the IRS calibrating itself. Depends how far you are from the equator and how long it will take. 10 minutes for us today. We have also got a GSX running today, so let's get our passengers boarding.
Boarding requested.
So we can see the stairs coming in, and we can see luggage coming in. Huzzah, right. So first thing for us to do is get the ATIS information.
Do you want to board crew? Passengers boarding starting.
Okay, so let's get the ATIS information. One 31355.
Conditions: few at 2000 feet. Scattered at 3300 feet. Temperature 8. Decimal 4. QNH 1010. Visual approach is in use. Advise on course heading altitude and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Yankee.
Information Yankee.
Edinburgh Airport information Yankee. 1650 Zulu. Wind 280 at 12. Visibility 10. Sky conditions: few at 2000 feet. Scattered at 3300 feet. Temperature 8. Decimal 4. QNH 1010. Visual approach is in use. Advise on course heading altitude and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Yankee. Edinburgh Airport information Yankee. 1650 Zulu. Wind 280 at 12.
Right, let's get
Visibility
ground
10.
dialed in.
Sky
121755.
View at 2000 feet. Scattered at 3300 feet. Temperature 8. Decimal 4.
Okay. Edinburgh ground, good afternoon. A Speedbird 14 Delta, type Boeing 737-800, stand 24, with information Yankee, QNH 1010, request IFR clearance to Bremen. There is normally a little delay as it goes off, finds your flight plan, I guess processes its response and then gives you the response.
Speedbird 14 Delta Edinburgh ground information Yankee is correct. Cleared to Brennan via the TLA 6C departure, then as filed. Departure runway 24. Initial climb to 4,000 feet. Departure on 121, decimal 205, squawk 3742.
Cleared to Bremen via the Thales 6 Charlie departure. Initial climb 4,000 feet. Departure on 121, decimal 205, squawk 3742, Speedbird 14 Delta.
Speedbird 14 Delta, readback correct. Expect runway 24. Report ready for pushback.
Ah, so far so good. Right, let's get 3742 in the box.
Evening, ma'am. How are you? I'm doing good.
Okay, let's get the APU started up. It's a nice little touch in VR with the passengers coming across. It's airports where you can actually see them going up and down the jetways and walking around in the airports. It's very nice, actually. Okay, so EGT spiked up. That will come down.
Hawker 511 Hotel Alpha, hold short of taxiway Echo, give way to the incoming Falcon.
Gets
Holding short of taxiway Echo, giving way to the incoming Falcon, Hawker 511 Hotel Alpha.
one of the nice features is it's within.
Cessna 908 Charlie Echo, hold short of taxiway Lima traffic on final approach.
One of
Holding
them.
short of Lima Cessna 908 Charlie Echo.
So Say Intentions has got a chatter feature where it kind of plays. It's pretty random audio. It's not local to the area that you're in, but it makes the whole experience just feel a little bit more alive, which is nice.
Learjet Tree Lima Juliet taxi to holding point Charlie 2 via taxiways Alpha and Bravo.
Taxiing to holding point Charlie 2 via Alpha and Bravo, Learjet, Tree, Lima, Juliet.
Alright, get rid of the ground power. And let's start to get some of the initial information dialed in. Reference airport is Edinburgh Echo Golf Papa Hotel. We're gate 24. Destination is EDDW Echo Delta Delta Whiskey with flight number Bravo Alpha Whiskey 41 Delta. Departure is runway 24 on the Thales
Cherokee
6
Tree 15
Charlie.
X-ray Papa, hold position landing traffic on short final. Holding position Cherokee Tree 15 X-ray Papa.
Let's get our route dialed in. It looks like all the passengers on board, that's handy.
Cherokee
Right.
Tree 15 X-ray Papa, cross runway 20, contact tower on 12 tree point 4.
Crossing runway 20, contacting tower on 12 tree point 4, Cherokee Tree 15 X-ray Papa.
Yankee 96 to Nateb. Nateb. Then we are November 610. That's our passengers done. There we go. Doors are closing. Stairs even are retracting. Let's continue getting that flight plan in.
Hawker 511 Hotel Alpha, continue taxi hold short of runway 12.
Continuing taxi holding short of runway 12, Hawker 511 Hotel Alpha.
Direct to Eel. Direct to Gibma. G. Golf. India. Mike. Golf India. No, not Mike. Golf India. Bravo Mike Alpha. Direct to Gimba. Gibma. And then... so let's activate that. And then the arrival, actually I think we will leave off just for now. We'll do that a little bit closer to the time. So let's just check our flight plan makes some sense. Let's step through that. So down to TLA, cross.
Cherokee Tree 15 X-ray Papa, hold short of taxiway,
yes.
Foxtrot traffic crossing ahead.
Great, that looks great.
Holding short of taxiway, Foxtrot Cherokee Tree 15 X-ray Papa.
Cool, so that's all dialed in. Let's check our departure. So it was initial climb to 4,000. What's the 7.4 will be at 250 knots, so let's call it 1,900 feet we need to climb at.
Learjet, Tree, Lima Juliet, taxi to holding point Alpha 2 via taxiway hotel.
Will be 250
Via
knots,
Hotel Learjet, Tree,
whilst we're
Lima
below 10,000 feet. Okay, I think... no. Nearly forgot. Always forget it, and then I end up with a warning about cabin pressure. So we're cruising at...
Gulfstream 671 Gulf Sierra, hold position traffic on final, expect departure clearance in approximately 2 minutes. Holding position Gulfstream 671 Gulf Sierra.
33,000 feet.
Learjet, Tree, Lima Juliet, hold short of taxiway Alpha, awaiting clearance to cross runway 18. Holding short of taxiway Alpha, Learjet, Tree, Lima Juliet.
Okay. Edinburgh ground, Speedbird 14 Delta, request push and start. Let's give it a second.
Speedbird 14 Delta push and start approved.
Push and start approved, Speedbird 14 Delta. Okay.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Gonna get rid of those wheel chocks. Get the parking brake on.
Locking gear.
Get initial setup all done. 0 reserves. Cost index 18. And cruising at flight level 330. Execute N1 limits. Will derate to 22,000. Take off with flaps 5. Center of gravity. Boom, 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 boom. Done.
Release parking brakes, please.
Embraer 225 Echo Mike, follow the Falcon, continue taxi to the ramp via taxiway Bravo.
Anti-collision
Follow the
lights
Falcon,
on.
taxiing to the ramp via Bravo Embraer
Starting
225
engine
Echo
2. N2 spooling up. Wait for N2 to get to 25 and then we'll introduce our fuel. It's 25.
Falcon 762 Foxtrot Romeo, hold short of runway 10, traffic on short final. Holding short of runway 10, Falcon 762 Foxtrot Romeo. Learjet Tree Lima Juliet, taxi to runway 27 via taxiways Golf and Hotel. Taxiing to runway 27 via Golf and Hotel.
It's
Learjet
engine
Tree Lima
2,
Juliet.
starting engine 1.
Falcon 762 Foxtrot Romeo, turn right on taxiway Bravo, hold short of runway 17.
Introducing fuel.
Turning right on Bravo, holding short of runway 17, Falcon 762 Foxtrot
Waiting your
Romeo.
confirmation for a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Okay, we can get the
Left is clear.
APU
Right is clear.
off.
Cessna 908, Charlie Echo, hold short of taxiway Lima traffic on final approach. Holding short of Lima, Cessna 908, Charlie Echo.
It's all looking good.
King Air 145, Kilo Alpha, taxi to holding point Bravo via taxiway Alpha and Charlie. Taxiing to holding point Bravo via Alpha and Charlie, King Air 145, Kilo Alpha.
Edinburgh ground, Speedbird 14 Delta, request taxi, runway 24. You'll see there's a noticeable lag.
Speedbird 14 Delta taxi to runway 24 via Alpha Delta, hold short of runway 24. Contact tower on 118, decimal 705 when ready for departure.
Taxi, hold short runway 24 via taxiway Alpha Delta, tower on 118 decimal 705, Speedbird 14 Delta. Okay, taxi lights coming on. Let's get our hydraulics on before we forget that. All we've got left to get on is our pitot tube heat. Let's bring up that taxi map. So via Alpha Delta, the taxi instructions are still something actually that they're tuning on. Same tensions, AI. Really, that taxi instruction should have been something like taxi holding point Delta 1 for runway 24 via Golf, Mike and Alpha. That's what I would have expected to have heard on VATSIM or something like that. That, and I haven't got the holding point instruction. I did get a Golf, Mike and Alpha taxi instruction when I tried this earlier before the stream, but he does acknowledge that he is still working on ground movement and IFR arrivals. And actually, as you get the IFR arrival, the actual ATC actually says this is work in progress. It could be a bumpy arrival, so we will see how we do. So that is my complete caveat, that any mistakes made during arrival is the AI and has absolutely nothing to do with the pilot.
Taxi to holding point Charlie 2 via taxiways Echo and Charlie. Taxiing to holding point Charlie 2 via Echo and Charlie Cherokee Tree 15 X-ray Papa. King Air 145 Kilo Alpha taxi to holding point Bravo 2 via taxiway Alpha. Taxiing to holding point Bravo 2 via Alpha King Air 145 Kilo Alpha.
It's a great way. I mean, this is pre-beta release. This is just going to get better and better and better as he works on it. This is if you're toying with the idea of getting into VATSIM, this is an absolutely fabulous way of getting used to talking on ATC before you fully take the plunge. And actually, this has some advantages over VATSIM in as much that
Gulfstream 671 Golf Sierra.
You will have full coverage.
Echo traffic on final. Holding short of taxiway Echo Gulfstream.
Let's turn that down a little bit so I can talk to you. The big advantage is that you will get full ATC coverage the whole way there. Whereas in VATSIM, for anyone who's used to doing it, you've got controllers where they're logged on. And then where they're not logged on, you monitor something called Unicom, where that's a bit like flying around an uncontrolled airfield. The pilots themselves call out what they're doing, and the traffic try to sort of organize themselves without the intervention of a controller. But with Say Intentions AI, you have got all of the positions filled. So often here at Edinburgh, you'll have ATIS and you'll have ground, but no tower, no Scottish control. So by the time you've actually taxied to the runway, by the time you're ready to take off, effectively the answer that you get from ATC is yeah, monitor Unicom and off you go. So essentially at this point in the flight, we could have had all the ATC that we may get, but because we're using this AI tool, we're going to have ATC coverage all the way. Let's get our auto brake ready for an aborted takeoff. The handover to tower was basically in the instructions, so we don't need explicit approval from ground to go over to tower. We can't enter the runway. So 118705. And departure on 121205, we'll get that in now as well. Okay, pit-up heat is on. Edinburgh Tower, Speedbird 14 Delta, holding short runway 24, ready for departure.
Speedbird 14 Delta, Edinburgh Tower, wind 260 at 13, runway 24, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 24, Speedbird 14 Delta. Okay, landing lights are going on. No line up and wait. We are straight in the air. Let's get our departure plate up. I have not got my trim set. Take off trim 4.7.
Charlie traffic is a Cessna on a 2-mile final caution wake turbulence.
And flaps 5.
371 Bravo Charlie.
Don't want to forget that, folks. Okay, we're ready to go.
Alpha X-ray, turn left, heading 090 vector for traffic.
Left to 090 Skyhawk 542 Alpha X-ray.
Okay, takeoff power is set. The speed is coming alive.
80 knots.
Cross check. Rotate.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up.
4 Foxtrot Delta, enter right base, runway tree 2. Right base, runway tree 2, 4 Foxtrot Delta. Citation 4 tree, Mike Whiskey, taxi to holding point, runway 1 tree via taxiway Alpha. Taxiing to holding point, runway 1 tree via Alpha citation 4 tree, Mike Whiskey. Speedbird 14 Delta, contact departure on 121.205.
Departure on 121.205. Speedbird 14 Delta. Edinburgh departure. Speedbird 14 Delta with you. Talus 6 Charlie departure. 3,500 for 4,000.
Speedbird 14 Delta, Edinburgh, approach, roger.
And I feel like I should be a bit higher than 4,000. I mean, the plate says I should be at 4,500 for the next waypoint, but we follow the ATC instruction. It would be good to get the flaps up. Let's do that. There is some relatively steep terrain with this departure, so one would hope we might get some further climb instructions.
Cirrus 1234 X-ray cleared for the RNAV. Follow the American B737.
Cleared RNAV following the American 1234 X-ray.
Now, ATC does sometimes get busy. It does sometimes forget about you, particularly in VATSIM.
14 Delta, Edinburgh approach, QNH 1011.
QNH 1011, Speedbird 14 Delta. Well, they've not forgotten us. Well, they're not climbing us either. Edinburgh departure, Speedbird 14 Delta, request altitude increase.
Speedbird 14 Delta, climb and maintain 12,900.
Climb and maintain 12,900. Speedbird 14 Delta. $12,900 feet. I mean, why not just 13,000 feet? Let's get that down. Transition altitude 6,000 feet.
United 1261, heavy traffic 11 o'clock and 15 miles, same altitude, type unknown.
Traffic in sight, United 1261.
There's 6,000, so standard barometric pressure. And once we're above 10,000, we'll get the landing lights off.
American 1145, slow to 170 knots, 5 mile final contact tower 118.3, good night.
170 tower 118.3. Good night, American 1145.
Very likely to get handed over to Scottish Control in a second. There's 10,000. Landing lights off. Okay. Looking good, looking good. That was not too bad a departure out of Edinburgh. Now, just coming up.
345. Charlie, maintain present altitude traffic at your 9 o'clock. A Boeing 737.
Maintaining altitude traffic in sight. Piper Tree 45, Charlie.
That's interesting. Right, we're going to start increasing speed. Above 10,000, so the 250 knot speed restriction.
Cessna 714 Lima, cleared for the visual on 8 left, maintain 90 knots.
Cleared visual, 8 left, 90 knots, 714 Lima.
We've arrived at our awfully specific altitude of 12,900 feet. Let's get the METAR information for Bremen. So QNH 1016. Got that dialed in. Nice. Nice, nice, nice.
Speedbird 14 Delta, contact Scottish Control on 133.2.
Scottish Control on 133.2. Speedbird 14 Delta. Scottish Control, Speedbird 14 Delta with you at 12,900.
Speedbird 14 Delta, Scottish Control, roger. November 781 Alpha Lima, climb and maintain 12,000.
You all thought Fred was gone, and there he is.
781 Alpha Lima.
He's not inside, but if you look from the outside, he's there. My jaundiced friend is still alive. Scottish Control, Speedbird 14 Delta, request climb to cruise altitude.
Speedbird 14 Delta, climb and maintain flight level 330.
Climb and maintain flight level 330, Speedbird 14 Delta. As they say, they forget you. And having listened to some of the developers' videos, that's like deliberately designed into the thing. And whilst you're under the control of air traffic control, pilot and command is still ultimately accountable for the flight. Yep, so we're climbing 2,500 feet.
American 880, descend via the star, transition to approach at 1 tree 4.9er. Descending via the star, switching to 1 tree 4.9er, American 880.
So the wind at Bremen is 210 degrees 6 knots, so I would think we're going to be a runway 27 approach. Navigraph concurs. Likely to be the Gibma 2 Papa arrival. So Gibma's this waypoint here. We might get put in a hold here. whilst we descend. There's Bremen VOR, so let's pin that because we're going to need that. And let's runway 27, let's pin that. So
Beechcraft 901 Alpha Tango, report altitude.
got
8000 Beechcraft
star.
901 Alpha Tango.
ILS approach. Airport info, nice. Likely, I would think, to get a handoff in a second. Climbing on 2,100 feet.
November
2,100.
897 Lima Sierra. Maintain current
21,000 feet even.
Maintaining current heading, November 897 Lima Sierra. FedEx 101, heavy reduced speed to 280 knots for sequencing. Slowing to 280 knots, FedEx 101 heavy. Delta 2 Tree 4, contact Atlanta Center at 1 Tree 5.6. Contacting Atlanta Center 1 Tree 5.6, Delta 2 Tree 4. Delta 401, cleared direct to Delta Alpha November VOR.
Clear direct Delta Alpha November VOR Delta 401.
United 771, contact approach on 126.45.
Switching to 126.45, United 771.
So just catching up on some of the chat. So Jamie was saying, as he told Brian yesterday, I thought I would only be using this AI as a stopgap solution until Beyond gets released, but knowing what I know now, this is my ATC of choice, and it's only getting better.
441, heavy, proceed
I
direct to
feel
Alpha Lima Tango.
exactly the same.
Proceeding direct to
I
Alpha
was
Lima
waiting for
Tango,
Beyond
Lufthansa
ATC.
441 heavy.
The interface looks very, very, very nice indeed. But this is mightily impressive, and Beyond ATC, so far as I understand, doesn't actually use AI. It uses AI for the voices, not for the actual controlling. Whereas this is actually using ATC. It's using ChatGPT, as I understand it, behind the scenes. So, yeah. Is the Boeing yoke worth it?
Spirit 117, cross mile area, flight level 310.
Yes, if
Crossing
you
mile area,
fly.
flight level 310, Spirit 117.
If you fly Boeings often, yes, it's a bit creaky in places. I've had it 18 months, maybe 2 years now, starting to get a bit creaky. You'll probably hear it when I come into land because I've got the microphone close to it, but it's not the same from an immersion perspective when you don't have a Boeing yoke in a Boeing plane. Other than a bit of creaking, it's pretty well made. Don't go for the throttles, go for the honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant, which is much better. What's the tablet add-on called? It is it's Open Kneeboard. It's this thing. Open Kneeboard. Yeah, it's great. And there you go, you can see all of the notes that I've been taking.
Contact approach on 125.35, good day. Contacting approach 125.35, good day, JetBlue 945.
Jamie says, I would think it will get more realistic. Oh, I've just accidentally closed the window I was reading from. I think it will get more realistic when they implement their new traffic injector. Certainly for beyond ATC, I think that is going to be...
14 Delta contact Scottish Control on 133.8.
Scottish Control on 133.8, Speedbird 14 Delta. Yes, certainly the big appeal. Scottish Centre, Speedbird 14 Delta with you, flight level 300. Yes, certainly the appeal of beyond ATC is going to be injecting traffic and then having, you know, it feels a bit...
Bird 14 Delta Scottish Control, roger.
It feels a little bit lonely up here with Say Intentions AI, and I think the huge differentiator for beyond ATC is that these skies are filled with other traffic. When you're taxiing, you're having to deal with all that taxiing traffic, etc. And yeah, I don't, so far as I know, think that Say Intentions AI is I don't think they've got that in the works, or if they have, I think they're sort of going to be at a standing start, so they're going to have quite a lot of work to do. So I mean, suffice it to say, we will be checking out both, most definitely. Yeah, this as a preview is mightily impressive. Mightily impressive. Okay, so coming up on flight level 330.
United 487, turn right heading 270. Turning right to 270, United 487.
So we've got a ground speed of 474 knots, air speed of 390, cruising at Mach
Diamond Tree 4, Alpha Bravo, traffic 10 o'clock, 4 miles level at 90500. Looking for traffic, Diamond Tree 4, Alpha Bravo.
So worth us just checking where our top of descent is likely to be. Okay, so about halfway between Lomond and Eel. So around about there is going to be our top of descent. Again, I've noticed with Say Intentions AI that you
Bonanza 762, Alpha Bravo, maintain VFR below
sometimes
7,000.
have to prompt them for descent.
Maintaining VFR below 7,000, Bonanza 762, Alpha Bravo.
Good day, JetBlue 945.
I'll just give you a view of what I'm doing here. I'm clearing off
Climbing to flight level 320.
all of my notes because I basically don't need them anymore. And so you can get all of that cleared off. so we can start getting ready with the information that we need to get into Bremen.
Traffic in sight, Cirrus 555, Sierra Mike.
Do-do-do-do-do. I'm expecting another handoff in a second. We're quite far.
American 789, descend and maintain flight level 270.
We're quite
Descending to flight level
far from
270,
Scottish
American
control.
789.
American 225, climb and maintain flight level 350.
Climbing to flight level 350, American 225.
If you're just joining the stream, we are flying with Say Intentions AI. It's an AI-powered air traffic control system for Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Maintain Mach 80.
Maintain Mach 80, United 938.
We've done an IFR departure from Edinburgh. We've flied. That's terrible grammar. We flew the Thales 6 Charlie departure. We got taxi instructions. We got a full IFR clearance, and we're now cruising at 33,000 feet, flight level 330 at Mach 0.66. On our way over to Germany, where we will be arriving at Bremen.
Climbing to flight level 410, Hawaiian 104.
Squawk 560 and IDM Bonanza 622 Alpha Bravo.
We're flying with live weather, live time, there or thereabouts. 1920, it is 1920. So, quite a pleasant evening here over the North Sea this evening. Scottish Control Speedbird 14 Delta, can we confirm the QNH at Bremen, please? It's an unusual instruction or an unusual request. Let's see what they managed to come back with. See if the AI can cope with that.
Speedbird 14 Delta, Brenham, QNH 1012, report when ready for descent.
Report when ready for descent, Speedbird 14 Delta. Not bad, actually. Not bad. In fact, we'll get that in. Let's see if our meter concurs. Well, the meter says 1016. I'm sure they just said 1012. They did.
Alaska 993,
Hmm.
Bravo airspace.
Cleared through Bravo Alaska 993.
1012 question mark. Let's put 101.
Proceed direct to the Blanc intersection.
Let's put
Direct to Blanc
1016 in
intersection,
there as
Southwest
well. So winds 220 at 7 knots. So 220 knots. And I think it's going to be runway 27.
Alaska 709, cleared direct to waypoint Bravo Romeo India. Cleared direct to Bravo Romeo India, Alaska 709.
What do you think about the chatter, folks? I mean, the thing that's nice about it is it kind of creates that perception of a little bit more going on. The thing that's a bit of a shame about it is it's not specific to the region that you're in. So essentially, like they're talking about random airports elsewhere that you don't really have anything to do with. But it feels a little empty without it, truth be told. Feels a little empty without it.
Climbing to 10,000 November 672 Bravo Charlie.
So fuel-wise, we're looking good. We've got 5,200 kilograms of fuel. Center tank is exhausted. We've
Descending to flight level 200, Spirit 891.
just over 100 miles to go to our next waypoint. We'll be doing descent. That 100 miles will come and go very quickly. By the way, folks, this is not a long flight at all. Then it's going to start to get interesting, as I've said a couple of times on the stream. The IFR approaches.
Switching to 119er Point Tree, UPS 461 heavy.
The IFR approaches are still not experimental. That's not the right word. Under development, work in progress. I say that. I mean, I've done 2 so far, and they've both been pretty good, actually.
Descending to flight level 280, Southwest 653.
So let's get a few details. ATIS is 132 decimal 38. What have we got airport wise? Bremen radar 124 decimal 8. And tower probably likely to be 120 decimal 33. Or 134 decimal 83. And ground on 121 755. Okay, so we've got our frequencies. We're going to be the
50 knots, American 467.
467. 2 Papa approach. Yeah, I'm at
0 knots, United 567.
Scottish Control, Speedbird 14 Delta, request frequency change.
Speedbird 14 Delta, go ahead.
Request frequency change, Speedbird 14 Delta.
Speedbird 14 Delta, pass your message.
Yeah, okay. Doesn't really know what to do with that. Okay, we're going to be coming up on descent soon. And that's going to make things a little bit more interesting for us. Well, weather's not quite so pleasant in Germany, it would seem. Well, I suppose this is sort of, I guess, the coast of Brussels, France, Germany, Europe. Unusual for Europe to have more cloud cover than the UK.
945, contact approach on 125.35, good day. Contacting approach 125.35, good day, JetBlue 945.
Yeah, METAR's pretty insistent. It's 1016 on the QNH, so slight difference. Obviously getting its data from different places. Let's get our ILS frequency dialed in. 110.9. They love a Scottish control. They really don't want to hand us off. Right, 30 nautical miles out from our next waypoint. We will be there before you know it.
Hawaiian 645, climb and maintain flight level 380. Climbing to flight level 380, Hawaiian 645.
Really do think I'm going to have to change some of that camera solution. I think yeah, so the bottom controls camera's frozen, albeit camera's not frozen, the camera's working fine. It's always these Elgato 4K cam links. I think we're going to have to go for an internal PCI card. Okay, 20 nautical miles to go and then we're going to request descent. Wowzers, look at that cloud. It was absolutely gorgeous as we came over the North Sea. That is spectacularly bad. Slightly red and angry looking with it. Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. Okay, let's start getting ready for our descent. Scottish Control, Speedbird 14 Delta, request descent.
Nobody is listening on 133.8.
Oh, well that's handy, isn't it? Well, that's not a no handoff. What do we do now? Let's go Bremen radar 124.8. Grumman radar, Speedbird 14 Delta with you, flight level 330.
Speedbird 14 Delta Dutch, Mill Center, roger.
Dutch Mill Centre indeed. Dutch Mill Centre, Speedbird 14 Delta, request descent.
Speedbird 14 Delta descend and maintain flight level 260.
Descend and maintain flight level 260, Speedbird 14 Delta.
United 487, turn right heading 270. Turning right to 270, United 487.
Transition altitude is by ATC. So, the second that we get a altitude,
Speedbird 14 Delta contact Dutch Mill Center on 128.355.
one two 8.355, Speedbird 14 Delta. Dutch Mill Centre, Speedbird 14 Delta with you, flight level 300 for flight level 260.
Speedbird 14 Delta Dutch, Mill Center, roger.
Wow, that's actually quite spectacular. And that, I guess, is the sun setting. That's very beautiful, actually. Right, I'm going to assume that we're getting a Gib,
346, turn left heading 080.
a Gib Mark 2 Papa arrival.
346.
Qatar 351 Heavy, proceed direct to fixed at intersection. Direct to fixed at Qatar 351 Heavy. JetBlue 617, cross Tamone at or above 10,000.
Crossing climate at or above 10,000, JetBlue 617.
Mooney 10 Bravo, Mike cleared to climb 10,000, resume on navigation. Climbing to 10,000, resuming on navigation, Mooney 10 Bravo, Mike.
Right, I'm going to remind you all, IFR arrivals still under development, so we could be in for an interesting ride.
Alaskan 413, expect runway 09er for landing.
Expecting runway 09er, Alaskan 413.
FedEx 687, heavy descend and maintain flight level 260. Descending to flight level 260, FedEx 687 heavy. Spirit 792, expect direct waypoint Tango India Mike in 5 minutes.
Expecting direct to Tango India Mike in 5, Spirit 792.
Right, let's get some lights on in here. It's getting a little bit on the dark side. Okay, that's a bit better.
Spirit 891, descend and maintain flight level 200. Descending to flight level 200, Spirit 891. Hawaiian 104, climb and maintain flight level 410. Climbing to flight level 410, Hawaiian 104.
Okay, it's looking good. Really would like to get descending a little bit more. I'm saying that sort of collectively between the two next waypoints,
Southwest 887, maintain Mach
there's about
78.
100 nautical miles.
Maintaining Mach 78, Southwest 887.
Well, very American sounding pilots here in Germany. Wonder, I mean, that's the, I think, big appeal of Beyond ATC is some regional.
14 Delta, Dutch Mill, descend and maintain flight level 030.
Descend, maintain flight level 030, Speedbird 14 Delta. Dutch Millfield Centre, Speedbird 14 Delta. Can I get the transition altitude, please?
Delta, transition altitude is flight level 60.
Transition altitude to flight level 60, Speedbird 14 Delta. Get our logo and our wing lights on.
Speedbird 14 Delta descend via GIBM 2P. Expect the ILS runway 27 approach into Bremen. Be advised that IFR approaches are still under development and are unlikely to work properly at this time. Improvements are being made daily, but strap yourself in for a bumpy arrival.
I did warn you folks, under development, we'll see how we do. Descend via the Gidmer to Papa arrival. Expect ILS runway 27, Speedbird 14 Delta. So we'd anticipated both of those things.
Speedbird 14 Delta descend via GIBM 2P arrival. Expect ILS approach runway 27 at Bremen, QNH 1015.
Descend via the Gidmer to Papa approach. Expect ILS runway 27, QNH 1015, Speedbird 14 Delta. Just out of curiosity, does our meter agree? No, it still says 1016, but we're gonna do what ATC tells us to.
Speedbird 14 Delta descend and maintain 2000.
Descend and maintain 2000, Speedbird 14 Delta. Okay, so we're going over to our QNH. Actually, that was quite nice sequencing, right? They've given us a QNH. We've then moved from a flight level assignment to an altitude assignment, which of course we need the QNH for. So that's not bad, actually. Let's just step through this flight plan. That is looking okay, I think. That's better.
Flight level 260, FedEx 687 Heavy.
That's looking better.
FedEx 101 Heavy, reduce speed to 280 knots for sequencing. Slowing to 280 knots, FedEx 101 Heavy.
Okay, we've got plenty of fuel. I'm going to start slowing us down.
November 9537 Foxtrot, climb and maintain 11000. Climbing to 11000, November 9537 Foxtrot.
Ready with the speed brake should we need it. I don't think that we will. It just becomes an inefficiently, fuel inefficient way of descending. So we're 1109, 1109, that's correct. 266, 266, 266, right. Everything's dialed in, we're looking okay. So Steve B 1992 says, what on earth is this? With the tablet and ATC. Indeed! All new. All new live streams, folks. All new. Okay, we're coming right in now over Germany. Just past 13,000 feet. Not expecting any holds. They've descended us to 2,000 feet, so I imagine we'll go Gibmer straight then to Bremen, then round, straight round here, straight onto the ILS report established. Get this bad boy on the ground. Okay, that's 10,000 feet. Let's get our landing lights on. No warnings, no alerts, board is green, all is looking well with the world.
Delta 401, clear direct to Delta Alpha November VOR. Clear direct to Delta Alpha November VOR, Delta 401.
And that cider has lasted me perfectly. It's the perfect amount of drink for this flight. As we get closer to the ground, the annoying connection lost warnings are going to start. Alright, Let's slow ourselves to 240. A little bit of air braking. And down to 230. And we're going to go flaps 1.
United 567, reduce speed to 230 knots for sequencing.
Slow to 230 knots, United 567.
Okay, we're 26 nautical miles from the Gibma VOR. Bremen radar, Speedbird 14 Delta, 23 miles out.
Speedbird 14 Delta Bremen, radar roger.
We're going to go flaps 5. You want to be ahead of the plane. Very dark now.
Speedbird 14 Delta Bremen radar, cleared direct DW011. Cross DW011 at or above 2000. Cleared for the ILS runway 27 approach into Bremen.
Cleared direct DW011. Direct at or above 2,000 feet. Cleared for ILS runway 27. Speedbird 14 Delta.
Speedbird 14 Delta, cleared direct DW011. Descend and maintain 2000. Cleared for the ILS runway 27 approach into Bremen.
2500.
Cleared direct DW011. Descend maintain 2000. Cleared for ILS runway 27. Speedbird 14 Delta. That instruction is not 100% clear to me, so I am going to continue on the route that we've got. We are at 2000 on the local QNH, slowing ourselves to 200. As I've said a number of times, the functionality for
14 Delta, cleared direct DW011. Cross DW011 at or above 2000. Cleared for the ILS runway 27 approach into Bremen.
Direct to DW011, cross at 2000, cleared for the ILS runway 27, Speedbird 14 Delta. Let's see if I can do DW011. Okay, I mean that's not ridiculous, so let's do that. Actually, it did make sense. That's pilot error for you folks, right there.
FedEx 1296 cleared visual approach. Runway 36 right, maintain 170.
Clear visual, runway 36 right, maintaining 170, FedEx 1296.
We go flaps 10. Yeah, we can. Let's go flaps 10. Oh, the scenery looks incredible at night.
Twin Comanche 235, Charlie, Quebec, right to 070 vectors for the GPS.
Right to 070 vectors for the GPS 235 Charlie, Quebec.
Entirely sure how I'm supposed to spin round almost 180 degrees onto the ILS there, but I'm sure we'll be fine.
Lufthansa 442, turn right heading 070, descend to 4000.
Right to 070, descending to 4000, Lufthansa 442.
I think we'll have to cross and then circle back, so that's fine. Let's get ourselves to 170. And let's go flaps 15. Gears coming down.
Cirrus 981, Tango Mike, descend to 2000, cleared ILS 18.
Descending to 2000, cleared ILS
3 gear, 3 key, 3 green. Gear is down and locked.
Bonanza 773 Delta Echo traffic at 1 o'clock, 3 miles eastbound, altitude unknown.
For traffic 773 Delta Echo.
So we're going to do flaps 30, 145 knots. Flaps 15 at 152. We'll keep ourselves a little bit above that just for now, I think. I don't want to get too slow. I mean, it could do with some tweaking. It's not optimal. We would have been better off going kind of via this, crossing over here and going around this nice teardrop, but
United 182, reduce speed to 210.
Reducing to 210, United 182.
okay, if you've just joined us, we're coming in for an ILS approach at Bremen, runway 27. And I mean, I have to say my experience has been pretty positive, actually. Pretty positive indeed. We've been streaming now for, let's have a look, a smidge over 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
5.411, Bravo Charlie.
plane 11 Bravo Charlie Squawk 0315, switch to 135.4.
See a whole load of playing fields. You can see some windmills spinning around there. Yeah, I mean, I think they've...
Looking for traffic 6 Alpha Lima. Air Canada 1203. The traffic
See if we can get ourselves around.
Heavy Airbus. Contact tower on 119.7.
Traffic site switching to 119.7, Air Canada 1203.
I think we're going to overshoot. Yeah.
Delta cleared direct DW011. Descend and maintain 2000. Cleared for the ILS runway 27 approach into Bremen.
Direct DW011 at 2000. Cleared ILS 27 into Bremen. Speedbird 14 Delta.
Speedbird 14 Delta, contact Bremen Tower on 120.33.
It's interesting, the approach light's not up there. Tower on 120.33. Bremen Tower, Speedbird 14 Delta, established ILS runway 27.
Speedbird 14 Delta Bremen Tower, runway 27, cleared ILS approach.
Cleared ILS approach, runway 27, Speedbird 14 Delta. So let's go flaps 30.
1000.
And we want to be 144 knots. Right, gear is down and locked.
Speedbird 14 Delta, winds 242 at 21. Runway 27, cleared to land.
Runway 27, clear to land, Speedbird 14 Delta. Shall we do it manually, folks? Let's get the auto throttle off. And let's get the
500.
autopilot off. Power going in. Ooh.
400. 300. 200.
Skyhawk 542 Alpha X-ray, cleared for takeoff runway 22.
Cleared for takeoff runway 22, Skyhawk 542 Alpha
30.
X-ray.
20. 10.
Hammer down. Reverses. And braking. Spoiler has deployed. 60 knots, reverses off.
Diamond November 371 Bravo Charlie cleared for takeoff runway 14.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 14, Diamond November 371 Bravo Charlie.
So we should expect a ground handoff in a second. I'm very happy with that. Let's get the APU on.
Speedbird 14 Delta, welcome to Bremen. Contact ground on 121.755.
Ground on 121.755, Speedbird 14 Delta. Let's bring ourselves to a stop. Let's get those landing lights off. Bremen ground, Speedbird 14 Delta, clear of runway 27.
Speedbird 14 Delta Bremen ground taxi to parking at your discretion. Have a good evening.
Parking and taxi at my discretion, Speedbird 14 Delta.
The chosen position is too small for local aircraft.
There's our little follow me car. Nice little touches. I mean, I know a lot of people sort of debate on the value of GSX, but stuff like that is nice. It just makes the world feel a little bit more real, a little bit more alive.
Embraer 225, Echo Mike, follow the King Air, then hold short of runway 30. Following the King Air, holding short of runway 30, Embraer 225, Echo Mike.
No idea where you're going. I am not going that way. What on earth was that? Oh dear.
Hawker 511 Hotel Alpha, proceed to the ramp via taxiway Echo, contact ground on 121.8.
Proceeding to the ramp via Echo, contacting ground on 121.8, Hawker 511 Hotel Alpha.
No, I think we will take ourselves in here.
Learjet, Tree, Lima Juliet, taxi to holding point Alpha 2 via taxiway hotel. Taxiing to holding point Alpha 2
Something has
via
gone
hotel,
very
Learjet,
horribly
Tree,
wrong.
Lima Juliet.
Where are the jetways? Oh, that's a bit frightening. Oh, dearie, dearie me. The jetways are all missing. The car's gone hurtling off in a strange direction. Right, we've got the APU on, going over to that power. Switching our engines off. Let's take our flaps out. Get that out of the way. Very much too afraid to disembark the passengers, because who knows what craziness will entail. So, but I think that's, whilst not perfect, we didn't get a handover in the English Channel, or the North Sea, should I say. And we
Crossing runway 27 at Echo, holding short of taxiway golf.
Slight bit of pilot error for ourselves as we came in for the ILS, but we did manage to correct it. I don't think that's too bad. So there we go, folks. I think a relatively successful test of Say Intentions AI. Because I've had a spanking nice short haircut that my wife did for me earlier. I haven't got terrible VR hair, but I think, given it's in an early release, pretty impressive, frankly. I think it's a very good piece of software. It's got the virtual reality pilot seal of approval. It's in beta. There is a 24-hour freebie testing period that you can choose to indulge. I would very much recommend that you do that. I did that, and long before that 24-hour period was up, I'd put my hand in my pocket and I had paid for a month's subscription. It's not cheap. It's about $30, €30, £30, depending on where you are. That's not an insignificant amount of cost. That's well over 300 quid a year, which is not small, beyond ATC, which is coming a little bit later on, likely to be a lot cheaper. But that is not an early release. Say Intentions AI is. I'm very impressed. And folks, I hope the stream was enjoyable. As always, I hope you're very well wherever in the world you are. Stay safe in the skies, and I will see you in my next one.